What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. This video we're going to be talking about the best tips that I used to elevate my success and really get to the next level. Now, people have their own ways of elevating, own connections and own networking events that they go to and their own, styles of progression, right? This is what really worked for me, especially when I was trying to work and trying to build into the entrepreneur side and building up my business and marketing and social media content, things that kept me consistent and all these things that I wanted to do that kept me going. And to be honest, a lot of people don't even talk about these skills that, you kind of develop, at least that not the people that I've met or that I've interacted with that kind of kept me going. These are the things that literally elevated my success. And if you guys have any other tips, definitely drop them down in the comments because I love learning, I love expanding, love growing and becoming who I want to become. But one of the top things that worked for me was building a vision board. Now, when I say a vision board, I literally mean a physical vision board where you have written out the goals and the things that you want to do. So you set them up in different topics and you do the why, what, and how. For me, like let's say for personal, why? So I can become a better man. What do I want to accomplish? I want to lose certain weight. I want to build more skills. I want to increase my fashion. I want to smell better and have certain cologne. I want to be able to network and have really nice people. I don't know, whatever that looks like, right? And then my how is how am I going to accomplish my what? So that means going to the gym more. That means running more. That means going to networking events more. That means putting myself, in position to actually expand my fashion sense. So that's buying different clothes that I'm not used to wearing, or that's going to stores and trying different stuff on. Maybe that's going to different, cologne spots and trying out different samples so I can be able to increase. So I'm looking at what my why is, what my how is, and my what is, and how I'm actually going to accomplish all of those for the goals that I have. So the way that I break it up is I do different quarters. So I do 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, right? And every single quarter that I have, I'm like, okay, what am I working on in this quarter? And if there's something that I don't end up doing, then I kind of roll it over to the next thing. So I create a vision board, and that way I can look at that every single day. For me, I have 2 different brands. Some people, they have their, their business brand, they have their personal brand, they have a social media brand, whatever that is. For me, my handles are King Malone, right? That's my personal brand. And then you have Alpha FRX, which is my trading and my business brand. So when you sit there and kind of analyze the different brands that you have, it's like, okay, what can I do to expand King Malone, right? Through my content, through my posts, through the things that I do, right? And then you have the Alpha FRX, and it's like, well, what can I do to expand my business side? Okay, still content, still networking, still being able to get outreach, whether that's business cards or if that's, digital marketing, whatever that looks like. How am I going to expand these 2 brands, right? That's the first thing. Second thing I did was create a journal. And literally in that journal, I have loads of notes of different topics and different skill sets that can actually build me to get where I need to. So that could be AI, that could be content creation, that could be real estate, that could be credit, that could be wholesaling, that could be, how to even work on a camera, that could be how to cut your hair, that could be anything, right? You're taking notes all day, learning about sales, learning about, anything. And you have all these notes in one journal. And the more that you kind of do that, especially in whatever niche that you're working on, if you're an esthetician or if you're a barber or, if you're a content creator, you're looking at what can I write down and what notes can I have in this journal that's going to provide me the maximum value so I can apply it to what I'm doing, right? So you have the vision board and then you have the journal, and you're constantly have these 2 sources of knowledge that you're like, okay, I have this that I'm looking at every single day or every single week, looking at what I need to be doing consistently. And then I have my constant knowledge book, if you will, that I'm looking at and I'm journaling in on a consistent basis. So I'm still mentally growing, I'm physically growing, doing everything else that I need to do, but I'm also staying consistent with my goals that I have. You know what I'm saying? And then the third thing I do is try to find rather YouTube videos or books that I can still read for me to also increase. So you might be watching YouTube videos to, take notes into your personal journal, but I also look at people like these type of videos. So they're talking about mentality, they're talking about mindset. I might listen to David Goggins, I might listen to Andrew Tate, I might listen to, another YouTuber that's talking about mentality or talking about how to grow as a man or how to elevate in life in general, right? So you need someone like that that's like that. I mean, that could be me. And having that person is going to tell you how to grow as a person and really elevate your mindset so that you can also stay consistent and stay with the growth that you're doing. Because you can have all these other things, you could be having a vision board, you can have a book, and you lack your mindset and your mentality, and that's going to show in your work ethic. That's going to show in your consistency, right? I always say momentum and efficiency efficiency. So you can move really fast and not be going anywhere, or you can be efficient and move very slow. But if you find a mix of actually have enough momentum and being very efficient, then you'll be able to find a perfect mix for you for whatever it is that you're grinding and working on. So I always recommend staying consistent with what you're doing, but it starts with the mentality. So yeah, you have your vision board, you have the goals that you have your why, what, and how. You have your different columns, right? For me, that's like business, personal, real estate, trading, family, men's group, whatever that looks like, right? You would have to have your different categories for you to continually expand on. Then you go to your book and you're like, okay, I'm working on this skill, this skill, this skill, this skill. This is what's going to really elevate me in my niche of whatever it is I'm working on. And then you have to have a way that you're building on your mentality so that you can actually stay consistent and have the work ethic that you need to for the other two things to keep you consistently growing and keep going. So those are the top 3 things that I did to really elevate my success and truly getting to the next level, to stay consistent and grow my own personal brand of King Malone and Alpha FRX and continually push myself out there. If you're in a position where, like for me, I'm a small business owner, right? But I still impact a lot of people. If you're in that position where you're like, I don't have a huge following on Instagram for me to be able to push out my personal brand and my business brand, focus on which one is going to give you the most traction. So for me, that was my personal brand. There's a lot of people that I already knew and I could build rapport and trust with on King Malone that I didn't have to worry about for Alpha FRX, right? Them seeing me through King Malone gave them trust that I was actually doing what I need to as a business. And if that's going to be your position, then you need to make sure that you're building up your personal brand. Your Instagram, your Snapchat, your LinkedIn, that's all your resume when you think about it. People are going to look at that and they're like, hey, who is this person? What does he stand for? How's his mentality? How's his work ethic? Can I trust him, right? All these different questions that you have for a person, you have to look at that and analyze. If someone was to look at my Instagram, what would they first think, right? If I got a whole bunch of rap music on my thing and I was talking about drugs and women and this and that, that's the impression that they're gonna have of me. You know, if I'm posting pictures and I'm flipping people off, or I'm smoking and I'm drinking and I'm partying and I'm clubbing, that's what they're gonna think of me. But if I'm also, you know, working out, staying consistent, talking about mentality, all about business, all about growth, all about elevating, that's what they're going to think about me as well. So you got to think about, how are people going to view you, right? Because in this case, that actually matters. You know what I'm saying? So if you're trying to grow your personal brand, trying to grow your business brand, stay consistent in what you're trying to do for the end goal, but figure out which one is going to have more influence for you to actually pursue it and keep moving forward. So that being said, y'all, that's the top 3 things that I did for me to become more successful in my journey and in my career. That being said though, like this video, share this video with someone that needs to grow. Follow me on my Instagram and my socials, King Malone. And that being said, y'all, I will catch you in the next video. I'm gone.